She's the one who shot her.
Restraining order, but she shot her.
The gun in the car. Oh my fucking God!
The baby in the car, how you feel? She didn't talk her, get up. You scared as hell, right? Scared as hell. She's scared as hell.
No, it wasn't.
That is
You
not
had it
self-defense.
right in the car.
You were trying to stop her in the car, bro. You were trying to hit the car, bro. What are you talking about? You had her in a headlock. And then you shot her, Brody. I was there. I'll write a statement, Brody. Don't worry about
I
it.
want her arrested. There's a fucking gun on the street.
I'm licensed to carry.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter, bitch.
You shot somebody, nigga. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Calm down.
Imagine walking your child into school, fixing their backpack one last time, telling them you'll see them later, and never getting that chance. For 31-year-old Romeca Meeks-Blackmon, that ordinary school morning became the final chapter of her life. Within minutes of dropping off her young son, a confrontation unfolded on a busy South Loop street in Chicago. Witnesses watched in disbelief. Cell phones came out. People started yelling. By the time police arrived, one woman was lying on the ground with a gunshot wound. Another woman was being identified by bystanders, and a little boy's life had changed forever. Investigators would later accuse the woman who pulled the trigger of first-degree murder. But the questions people kept asking reached far beyond who fired the gun. They wanted to know how two families connected through the same man ended up at this point, outside an elementary school, in broad daylight. This is that story. Chicago is a city that moves fast. Every morning, parents rush to work, children hurry into classrooms, buses crowd the streets, and life keeps moving. On September 8th, 2025, the morning looked no different. There was nothing about the school drop-off that suggested it would soon become the focus of a homicide investigation. For the people who knew Romeca, she wasn't defined by the headlines that followed. She was a mother first. Friends and family described her as energetic, outgoing, and someone who enjoyed making people laugh. Videos shared online captured her dancing, smiling, and enjoying time with the people closest to her. She wasn't trying to present a perfect life. She simply shared moments that mattered to her. One person appeared over and over again in those memories: her young son. Anyone scrolling through her social media could see how proud she was to be his mother. She celebrated his milestones, encouraged him publicly, and reminded him that she would always support him. Just before the new school year began, she wrote a heartfelt message, telling him that no matter what happened in her own life, she would always do everything she could to make sure his future stayed bright. On the morning of his first grade school year, she left him another message filled with encouragement. It was the kind of note many parents write without realizing how much it might one day mean. Neither of them knew it would be the last message he would ever receive from his mother. Romeca's relationship with the father of her son had ended before this tragedy. Public court records and reporting indicate there had already been legal conflict between them before September 2025, including an order of protection. By then, the father had moved on to another relationship, and the woman he was dating would soon become central to the criminal investigation. Exactly what was said between the people involved that morning remains part of the evidence investigators examined. What is publicly known is that all three adults came together near the school shortly after the child had been dropped off. Within moments, a confrontation began. Witnesses later described seeing tensions rise quickly. What began as a face-to-face encounter soon became physical. People nearby stopped what they were doing. Some watched from the sidewalk. Others reached for their phones, sensing that something serious was unfolding. No one standing there could have known they were about to witness an event that would spread across social media and local news within hours. And according to prosecutors, the most critical moments were still seconds away. The confrontation happened just after the morning school drop-off near South State Street in Chicago's South Loop. It lasted only moments, but the consequences would last forever. According to prosecutors, Romeca Meeks-Blackmon encountered her former partner and the woman he was dating. Investigators say an argument quickly turned physical. Witnesses described seeing the women fighting near the street as people nearby tried to understand what was happening. The area was already busy with parents and children arriving at school, making the violence even more shocking. Prosecutors allege that during the struggle, the father of Romeca's son restrained her, allowing the other woman to pull out a handgun. Authorities say Romeca was then shot in the face at close range. The sound of the gunfire brought everything to a stop. People who had been walking nearby froze. Others immediately called 911. Several witnesses began recording the aftermath, while others rushed toward the victim, hoping there was still something they could do. Those videos spread across social media within hours.
She shot her.
She's the one who shot her.
She's the one who shot her.
Restraining order, but she shot her.
The girl's in the car. Oh my fucking God.
The baby in the car, how you feel? She didn't talk her. Get up. You scared as hell, right? Scared as hell. She had it, buddy.
No, it wasn't.
That is
You
not
had it
self-defense.
for the car.
You were trying to stop her in the car, bro. You're trying to hit the car, bro. What are you talking about? You had her in a headlock. And then you shot her, Brody. I was there. I read a statement, bro. Don't worry about
I
it.
want her arrested. There's a fucking gun on the street.
I'm licensed to carry.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter, bitch.
You shot somebody, nigga. What the fuck wrong with you?
Calm down. Calm the fuck down.
She put the gun in the car. The gun, she shot her? This girl right here. She shot her. She shot her. She put the gun in the car.
This car, Brody.
She walked out.
Yeah, because she
Fuck
got shot and
that. You
walked
had her in
out.
a fucking headlock and you know it. You fucking know it. You fucking know it. You're fucking bogus as fuck. We're letting her get fucking shot, you asshole.
And then now you're standing over here like, oh,
Then the captain table on my head, the one in the green. She had it on. You let her fucking get shot.
And she was the girl that shot. This her car right here. She was standing on the doorway.
What do you mean dead, bro? What do you mean she's dead,
You
bro?
should have
Because of
fucking
you.
protected her.
What you mean? Look, she's dead. She's dead, bro. She's dead. What do you mean? That's your fault. You had that bitch. Because I witnessed the whole fucking thing. Because I.
They showed the confusion, the fear, and bystanders pointing officers toward the woman they believed had fired the shot. Romeca's family would later plead with people to stop sharing those recordings, asking instead that the public remember her through the joyful photos taken while she was alive. Police officers arrived within minutes. Romeca was transported to a nearby hospital, where doctors worked to save her life. Despite those efforts, she was pronounced dead. For her family, the reality was almost impossible to process. Just hours earlier, she had walked her son into school and left him with words of encouragement for the day ahead. Now, relatives were receiving calls no family ever wants to answer.
What they're calling on is for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office to look at this case yet again, and we'll get to what the state's attorney is saying about this. But Romeca Blackmon, she just said goodbye to her 6-year-old son. She gave him a kiss and told him to have a great day in first grade. Moments later, she was shot 3 times. One of those bullets hit her in the face. Blackmon worked 2 jobs and was in school to be an RN. Now her family is asking, why is the woman who pulled the trigger still free?
Person with a gun, 2200 South State, got a female black, light complexion, green tracksuit, has a gun, fighting with another female black, dark complexion.
So let's walk through this together. Police scanner audio reveals that a fight broke out, followed by reports of a woman seen with a gun. The incident happened after 9 in the morning on September 8th at Romeca State. 31-year-old Romeca Blackmon got into a physical altercation with another woman. Both of them share a child. with the same man. He was also present at that scene. The other woman pulled out a gun and shot Blackmon, then admitted to it in a video recorded at the scene and widely shared on social media. Before the shooting, Blackmon dropped off her son just steps away from a South Loop school. Her final social media post was a photo that you see right there of a handwritten note that she packed in his lunchbox. He turned 7 years old in a few days. Instead of party planning, his grandmother is trying to figure out how to explain that his mother won't be there to celebrate.
I want to know how did she just walk away? How? When they told you that he had her in the headlock, how did he even walk away? Why did they was so easy to walk away? They tell me, look at the video, they bumping fences. I don't know about any of that because I really can't even focus.
So just to clear this up so it makes even more sense, that woman that she's talking about filed protective orders against Blackmon dating back to December of last year and as recently as this summer. The family believes it was all done to create a paper trail against Blackmon. In the video, the shooter did say she had a concealed to carry license. She was taken into custody by police but later released. As for Blackmon, her family says she was unarmed and there was no reason for her to be shot.
As investigators secured the scene, detectives began interviewing witnesses, collecting surveillance footage, and piecing together exactly what had happened during those critical moments. One question quickly became central to the investigation. Was this a spontaneous fight that suddenly turned deadly? Or had the encounter been planned before anyone arrived at the school? That question would become a major focus for prosecutors. As detectives continued reviewing witness statements and video evidence, prosecutors announced criminal charges against the woman accused of firing the fatal shot. Authorities identified the defendant as 34-year-old Kwadaja Johnson. She was charged with first-degree murder in connection with Romeca Meeks-Blackmon's death. Prosecutors also alleged that the confrontation had been planned rather than accidental, pointing to evidence they presented during court proceedings. Investigators also examined the actions of Romeca's former partner during the incident. Prosecutors alleged he participated in the attack by restraining Romeca immediately before the shooting. At the time of the initial reporting, the criminal case centered on the murder charge filed against Smith, while the investigation into the overall incident remained active. Court proceedings focused largely on the evidence investigators collected, including surveillance video, witness accounts, and statements presented by prosecutors. Rather than becoming a lengthy courtroom battle in the public eye, the early hearings centered on whether the evidence supported keeping the defendant in custody as the case moved forward. Outside the courtroom, however, another story continued to unfold. Romeca's loved ones weren't focused on headlines or online debates. They were focused on the empty chair at family gatherings. They were focused on the little boy who would now grow up without his mother. Friends remembered Romeca as someone whose energy filled every room she entered. Family members shared photos and videos showing birthdays, vacations, celebrations, and the everyday moments that now carried even greater meaning. For many people following the case, the hardest part wasn't simply how it ended. It was where it happened. A place parents associate with safety became the scene of a homicide investigation in the middle of a school morning. As the criminal case continues through the justice system, one fact remains unchanged. A young boy lost his mother after what should have been an ordinary trip to school. For Romeca Meeks-Blackmon's family, no court decision can erase that loss. Their hope is that she will be remembered for the life she lived, the love she poured into her son, and the memories she created with the people closest to her, not for the videos recorded on one tragic morning. If this story moved you, subscribe to Fable of Crime, and remember that these cases involve real families whose lives are changed forever. Keeping the focus on verified facts and honoring the victims helps ensure their stories are remembered with the dignity they deserve.